When I was 16 years old, I couldn't get myself up to learn for school. It felt impossible. And I started to think I was lazy. But what I didn't know was that social media literally robbed me of my life's energy. In this video, you learn why laziness is often not the problem, what's actually going on in your brain, the secret prerequisite for discipline, the 2 ways to continue, and some action steps to get your energy back. Maybe you know this feeling when you know what to do, what the right thing is, but you just can't get yourself to actually do it, to actually take action. If you watch this kind of self-improvement content or stuff like that, then you see, yeah, okay, it's just discipline, don't rely on motivation, just do it. And then you think, yeah, okay, well, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe it's me. Maybe the problem is me. And that's one possibility. I'm not going to tell you that this is never the case, but often when you're really, you know what to do, you know you have to learn for school, you know you want to go to the gym, but you just can't get up. You are glued to your chair, you are glued to your couch and can't move. Then often the problem isn't really that you are not disciplined enough, but that your dopamine baseline is just so low, your dopamine is so fucked up that you just can't use it for healthy things. And of course, to get up, to actually start doing something, there has to be a small bit of motivation. And I don't mean this feeling of, yeah, I'm really hyped to do it, but just this feeling of, yeah, I'm going to do it now. So what is motivation? What gives us motivation? It's dopamine. It's the thing in your brain. I probably heard it really often already, but dopamine is the thing that gives you motivation, that gets you to move, to actually do stuff. Without dopamine, you wouldn't do anything. Like there even were studies, I don't know them exactly, but where, for example, there was one rat with dopamine, normal, and the other one without dopamine. So they did something to their brain that no dopamine was there. And they had a bottle of water or something to eat, and the normal rat, of course, would eat it, but the other rat didn't even move a rat's length to get the water, to get the food, because there was no dopamine and therefore no motivation. And with us, it works the same way. We have to have dopamine to actually do anything. And like with the rat that wasn't even able to move, not even a rat's length to get their food, they would rather starve than just move this rat's length, you know. And I think it's similar to us in some ways. So of course, every one of us has a bit of dopamine, otherwise you wouldn't watch this video. But I still think that often our dopamine baseline, our base motivation is just too low to actually do stuff, especially when you're really overstimulated, because when you're really overstimulated and get those high peaks of dopamine, so you have your baseline here, then a high stimulation moment, so high dopamine peak, and then your baseline drops. And if you do that really often, like scroll in every 3 minutes, your baseline drops lower and lower, and then you're in the situation I was in, where I really couldn't get myself up to learn or just do something that was productive or had a positive impact for me, that was healthy, you know. It was just, it really felt impossible. And I really think maybe it was almost impossible, because it was not like there was no discipline, but it was just, I mean, you know what the right thing is, but you just can't get yourself to do it. And I think that's just a sign for a really low dopamine baseline and a lifestyle where you're really overstimulated. And that's what many people who talk about discipline don't talk about. Of course, when you have normal or somewhat normal dopamine levels, then it's often still just, okay, I don't want to do it, but I will still do it. But before you are even at that level, you need to have a bit of dopamine balance. Your dopamine has to be somewhat balanced to actually even be able to be disciplined. Because to take action, there has to be a certain level of dopamine. Because, like we said, dopamine is the thing that gets you to do stuff, that gets you up, that gets the rat to move to the food. And if your dopamine is so low that you just like physically can't get up, then of course someone telling you, yeah, okay, just do it, don't be a pussy, that won't help. So the problem here really lies at overstimulation. And for example, many people say, don't rely on motivation. If you want to achieve something big, if you want to build a business, if you want to build a great physique, don't rely on motivation. And what they mean by that is that you shouldn't rely on those high dopamine peaks, like for example, before you go to the gym. And maybe it's the first week of going to the gym and it feels really exciting and it feels easy and your dopamine is really high. That's what they mean by motivation. Just when it's easy, when it really feels good and your dopamine is so high that it really feels easy. But if we look at motivation at the dopamine level, if we just think, okay, dopamine equals motivation, you still have to have a bit of dopamine to actually just get up. You have to have a bit of dopamine for it to be hard, but still doable. And you shouldn't rely on those high dopamine peaks, on this high motivation. But like I said, you have to have a bit of motivation, a bit of dopamine, a certain level. And now when you know that maybe you're not lazy, that maybe the problem isn't that you can't get up or that there's not enough discipline and so on, that maybe the problem lies somewhere else. Then now, of course, there are two ways to think about it. The one way is just to think, yeah, okay, it's literally impossible. I'm powerless. I don't have responsibility about that because, I mean, even the chemicals in my brain make me unable to actually do stuff. But of course, what would you tell someone who thinks that? That's bullshit. So the second way to think about it is just with agency. So just understanding, okay, just trying to get up when the problem doesn't lie at the discipline, but at something else, the overstimulation, then just trying to get up and still trying to just be disciplined is just maybe not the right way to go about the problem. So I need another solution. I have to work at the root of the problem, the overstimulation. And the good news are that fixing this overstimulation, fixing that you're too much on your phone and so on, that's doable. And way more efficient than just trying to get up when your dopamine baseline is somewhere down there in the cellar. So what can you actually do now to fix this? I really think just having this information and understanding that the problem just doesn't lie at the discipline, but just at that overstimulation, that you just bring those two things together, getting overstimulated and then having no motivation, and knowing that these two things are really connected. I think that already maybe will change your behavior a bit, but if you just want to know what can you do now, what can I do to fix this, then I would just say a few small steps. If you still have notifications turned on, then turn them off. I mean, of course, you've heard it already. It's not like it's some special advice, but it's just the advice you need if you still have notifications on, because it's one of the highest ROI tasks you could do. So return on invest, because you invest like 2 minutes of your time to just turn off those notifications on apps like Instagram, TikTok, I would even say Snapchat, and then you just get back hours in the future. If you really think long term, probably even days of wasted time, you just get back by now using 2 minutes to turn those notifications off. So that's just a no-brainer. And if you haven't done it already and want to change something, then that's the most sensible action you can take right now. Other stuff would be just making those apps unattractive. So getting them off your home screen, doing stuff like that. And that would be just 2 actions you can take right now. It's just important to understand why you would do that. Because if you just think, yeah, okay, overstimulation or scrolling is bad, that's not a strong enough why to actually change something. And understanding that social media doesn't only waste your time, but also really sucks up your life's energy, that's important to know why you would even decrease your screen time. Because many people think, yeah, okay, why would I even do this stuff? These 2 actions, I would do them right now. And if you want to go deeper into that, what you can actually do to fix this problem, you can also watch this video. It's exactly about that. So I hope you took something out of this video, and then bye.